morning, everybody. Happy Monday and glad to be here with you this morning. It is August 3rd, the first week of August. We're going to get our bearings here really quickly together. We're going to figure out what our plan is, not only going into this week, but the next few weeks. We're going to work out what we see going on in the markets. Just continue doing what we do every day together, and that is follow the flow of the market and make sure that we are on the right side. If you do your analysis, you put in the time and the work, all of a sudden your trading results are going to line up. It's how it works. Let's get on it together. Buenos dias. Glad that you're all here. Gold is in. Everything's interesting. I can't wait to get into the markets this morning with all of you because, again, that's what we do. That's where the passion lies. I have the chart here on the DXY because it's a dollar story, right? And what are we seeing today? We're seeing the dollar come off a little bit today. And, what are we looking at over here? Well, we're looking at a very, very, very bearish dollar. And there is no indication whatsoever that we're seeing any type of reversal just yet, right? We're looking after the break of this trend line over here. Now we're looking for what? A retest, right? We're waiting for a retest. This is going to be the first area right over here, even where we are right now, right? Anytime we start seeing lower lows coming out over here, we're expecting the dollar to begin its resumption downwards. It's still selling rallies. We're going to look at the Euro US dollar, the Australian dollar US dollar in just a moment, and you're going to see how those pairs are also into some areas of interest, some areas of support. So keep a watch out. Just keep that perspective until we're shown otherwise. We are very bearish on the dollar. Now, could this thing extend? Could the dollar extend up and back all the way to the trend line? Because it's at a little bit of local resistance right now. Could it get up there? Of course. Could it get up as far as this area, this trend line over here that I have over here extended down? Of course. That's what we're looking for. That's the safer place to look to lean into. What else are we looking at? We're looking at the indices slightly bid this morning here. You see the S&P on track towards our summer target over here. The resistance at 33.39. Also the Nasdaq coming close here to taking a look at the all-time highs, and it possibly could this session. This played out exactly as we were looking. A lot of people have been calling the top over here. Listen, we just trade with the trend. Stay on the right side of the market. Buy off of support in uptrends, sell off resistance in downtrends, right? Here we saw that break of that trend line. Then the retest, that white line was the entry we spoke about. And we were looking for it to come in to test new all-time highs. Now, when it tests, that's not the profit target, right? We're waiting to see if we get a pop up above that. As you come into there, you move your stop loss to break even. That looks like a good trade over there. We're going to take a look at gold and silver. And we're also going to take a look at, of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum, crypto on the move. Let's start that over here as we're looking at silver. And you can see we continue over here. This is beautiful, by the way, very technically beautiful. But you see the resistance at 24.50. Oh, we got like a little bit of a freeze here. I'm going to refresh this page over here. Bear with me 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. That's peculiar. That's odd. Let me just refresh this page and see if that fixes it. And at the same time, I'll load another one just in case. But silver is at the 24.50 resistance right now, and it's consolidating right below it. Very, 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 very bullish. Let's see if this pulled up for me. I could sing for y'all, but, just close your ears. Jordan, could you talk where you would want to take profit long-term on gold? Great question, by the way. I have no profit targets whatsoever on gold and silver, both of which are just beginning to really begin to enter that sweet spot of the bull trend, of the bull market. And silver is lagging way behind. Gold is the one that's looking at making new all-times over here. As far as long-term price targets, you can't have one only because we have to see what happens as far as the continued situation with the printing coming out of the central banks over here. I'm looking at a potential target over here of the Fed's balance sheet at 10 trillion by the end of the year. Now, I don't know what happens after there because, listen, 6 months out is a long time when you're talking about macro events that are this fast paced and moving. That some people have targets of, for example, 2,400. What is that? Is that in the next 6 months, 12 months? Probably, right? 3,000, is that a safe target? Probably. And then you have people talking about other numbers. What happens when there is a system reset? And eventually there will be a system reset. And when will that happen? That will happen when this is no longer sustainable. They'll keep printing from this point on until it's no longer sustainable. And at that point, there'll be a system reset. When they have that system reset, whoever holds the gold is going to have a seat at that table. That's why everyone is accumulating gold. Now, what is the price of gold at that point, right? I have no idea. Is it 5,000? Is it 15,000? I have no idea. There's no price targets on gold and silver. Right now they're entering a bullish phase. You're not thinking of selling. We'll think of selling when that's that time. That should not, on Bitcoin is different. On Bitcoin we have, the bull market phase. We're talking about 18 months from now. We're talking about the winter of 2021. Altcoins 1 month beyond that, a couple of weeks beyond that. So we have some type of take profit area, and that's time based, as well as of course, if you looked at the video on the channel on the Bitcoin playlist that talks about price targets to sell during the bull market phase, we have also not only time based targets but also price based targets. Different on gold and silver. You have to change your mind frame. There's absolutely zero reason to even think or consider of selling gold at this point. Gold, by the way, is right now taking a look. Overnight on Sunday, it opened up to new all-time. It got as high as 2,000. No, it didn't. I have over here somewhere around 1987. You could saw that we peeped above the resistance over here. And what's it doing? It's just still there consolidating, right? Is there an edge either way? No. Have we had a breakout to new all-time highs again on gold? No. Once it's clear, because that's not clear. That was a breakout above, but then you never had an entry. What is an entry? When price resumes up. So there's no entry there yet on gold. What about silver? Silver's consolidating very, very, very nicely here below the 2450 resistance. It's very bullish, right? What's the safe trade on silver? Wait for it to break the 2450 resistance. Wait for it to test it as support and then get the resumption. So just show a little bit of patience on gold and silver and wait to see what their next move is, because this resistance could hold here easily right now. The 2450 resistance could hold. We could come back down and we could test again this support down over here, the support at 2282. So, and below that, by the way, we have that spike low down here, that 15% drawdown all the way into the 2225 area. That could also be tested again. So show a little bit of patience right now on gold and also silver. Bitcoin, look, by the way, I want to show you this because, all of you who are here and are following this support line over here at 10.55.7, right? We threw that in last week. You could see that price over the weekend came in and touched it. It's beautiful, right? It's beautiful. Everyone knows that we were looking at 10,400 as the resistance on the way up. Once that broke the 10,400, right, to the upside, and I saw this spike down, I moved up that support and I said, this is the new support. Look, we touched into that. This is, by the way, this price action that we saw over the weekend is more bullish than if we would have continued breaking out towards 14,000. Why? You don't want a market that goes straight up or straight down. That type of price action is unsustainable. It doesn't last. So this pullback over here, and by the way, do you also notice that we topped out into that trend line resistance that we threw in there as a guide over here? You could see it. We threw that in together on Friday, and you could see that over the weekend. That's the area that we came into. So where are we now? This is super healthy that we came in and tested the 10,555 support and are now trading back above this trend line resistance. And now you can see off of that trend line resistance here, making higher highs. Super bullish. Bitcoin looking good, right? What about Ethereum? Ethereum broke and started its bull market over the weekend. It broke the 358 or 360, whatever you want to call it, resistance over here. So we're going to turn that into support right now. That was a 2-year consolidation period. That's a big breakout over here, right? So that's a 2-year going back over here to September of 2018 or August of 2018 that we've consolidated here, putting in this long, big base for 2 years. We've broken the upside resistance now. That set off the bull market in Ethereum. And you could see over since breaking out over the resistance, right? We had that, look at that sharp acceleration. And then all of a sudden, you saw the sharp sell-off, taking out a lot of stops, I'm sure. But you could see this was the last bit of consolidation on this. Look at this. This is important. You could see the last bit of consolidation here on Ethereum, right? And you could see that's what was the new support. That resistance right there, that became the new support. It was already tested. More importantly, we closed above the breakout. We closed above the 360, 358 area over here and are also resuming off of there. Crypto, led by Bitcoin and Ethereum, looking very bullish right now. But I want to talk about Ethereum for 1 second with you. And I do want to talk about, you all know how I'm positioned into Bitcoin, what type of targets I'm looking for Bitcoin and whatnot. To be honest, look from here where Bitcoin is trading right now at $10,000, $11,000, right? I'm looking for beyond a 10x, right? I'm looking for, over $100,000 in the winter, probably $140,000. On Ethereum, I do not know. I don't know whether or not we would take out all-time highs on Ethereum. And if you look at that, now you're talking about what? You're talking about like a 3x, a 3.5x potential to get to the new all-time highs on Ethereum. Do I think that we come in and we take out 800? I think happens. I think we take out 800. I'm confident that we take out 800. Ethereum, Bitcoin is proven technology. Bitcoin works extraordinarily well. It is the most secure piece of software in the world and the most tested piece of software in the world. Ethereum cannot scale, right? They have plans to update again Ethereum with the sharding, and they're hoping that it's possible it's going to be able to scale. But I do not think that Ethereum is going to be able to scale. All right. So everyone knows that during this alt season that's just begun. By the way, if you're here and you're listening, 15 minutes in on this Monday morning, please go ahead and smash that like button. Please show a little bit of love for the channel. I do appreciate that very much. If you're learning anything here, and I hope you are, please go ahead and smash that like button and help support the channel. So what I'm talking about over here on Ethereum and, why, because right now Ethereum looks attractive. It just broke out. The bull market over here is probably going to be, and I've said that for a while, outperform Bitcoin during this stage right now. But rest assured, I am not invested into Ethereum. I have a small speculative position on Ethereum of less than 1% of my portfolio. It's very small. Now, do I think that we're going to come out and take out 800? Yes, I do. Do I think we trade higher? Maybe coming up somewhere and testing this? I think this area will be tested. I think that this 1286 area over here will be tested. Whether or not we break to new all-time highs or what happens with Ethereum, I have no idea. It is unproven technology. Please understand that anyone investing into Ethereum or any other cryptocurrency, understand what you're investing in is highly speculative. They do not know if they can scale Ethereum. Both founders are on record saying that when they created it, they did not know if it could scale, and they have possible solutions in the work, but they always push back that roadmap and timeline. We'll see what happens. I just want everyone to be careful, and that includes, right? I talked about investing a small position into Chainlink and also Tezos. And I was very forthright in saying that I do not understand either project or the technology. I only watched how both reacted during the bear market and felt like taking a speculative play on both. I will sell out of these before I sell out of Ethereum. And on the record, I don't, at this point, until proven different, I'm not a believer in Ethereum at all. I am a believer in Bitcoin. I am a huge believer in Bitcoin. And that's where I have my money, right? Where my mouth is, so to speak. And I would like for that to be what? On some tacos, right? So by the way, for those who are new to the channel, when we talk about tacos, you'll often hear about tacos or like dApps, and that's just because the more money you make, right, the more tacos you could eat. Believe me, we eat plenty of tacos over here. So it's not some type of inside joke or anything like that. It's just kind of what it is. I live here in Mexico. We eat tacos. It's just good fun. Bum, 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 bum. So let's get back into it. All right. I want to check out where we're going as we're about 12 minutes to the market's opening. Not much going on with equities, right? We're seeing a slow drift up towards the targets that we're looking at over here. And we maintain our bullish posture by a large margin. Please stop trying to sell the tops on equities. Please stop that. A lot of you have. I know that. I read everything you all write me. What else are we looking at over here? I want to look at the euro US dollar because we're talking about coming into an area of support. Look at this. By the way, that trend line we're testing right now, that's the big one. That's the big one, right? That goes back all the way to 2008. This is a possible big move developing on the dollar. We have to follow what happens technically, right? So right now we're testing that area of support. Resuming off is a no-brainer. Resuming off is a no-brainer in that I most likely will be taking the trade, right? What about on the downside? What happens if we don't hold over here? I have this trend line over here, right? I'm looking at this trend line support that we just looked at over here. And at the same time, I'm also looking at this trend line over here. This is an area over here that I'm looking for it to hold. If we break that trend line, not the one up here, that's assuming if we break this one, then we broke that one, right? If we break this one, then I think at that point, we could see a bigger move here for the dollar, right? That could mean that the dollar is coming up. The dollar, let's take a look at some important levels here. This is the big one over here. This is the big one over here. That's at 95.84. That will be coinciding with this trend line over here, this big one too. Let me put on the 3-day so you could get a clearer look at what I'm talking about. This is the prime trend line. This is the one that started connecting these 2 points to this one. This is the trend line that I then cloned. You could see the peak over to here as well. It's an important trend line. I cloned it for these 2 outer touches, right? This was the official breakdown of the trend line of the dollar. Now we're coming up for the retest. Which trend line do we stop at if we get as high? This one or this one? We watch them both. This is the big one. When I say big one, the 95.84 level. So long as we're below that over the next week or two, if we cut, that is very bearish on the dollar. A break above that changes our whole thought process over here. And at that point, we look at this as saying a possible bottom was put in. That's not the probable play. The probable play is that all that holds. Bum, 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 bum. That's awesome, Murray. That's great. So that's what this analysis is for over here, right? It's for a couple of things. First of all, Murray obviously puts in the time. He's here with us all the time, right? So he's putting in the time and analysis and learning. Maybe you're watching this and a lot of this is perhaps new to you or not, not yet, like you don't have the same analysis. Well, the more time you spend in watching, it'll be there. I love to hear that Murray's saying he's done his analysis on his own, and now he's able to use this analysis as a sounding board. He sees that it matches. He sees that he's seeing the market correctly. That's a great thing. That's a really cool thing. I'm happy to see that comment. I don't have any comments on bonds. It's not my thing. I only speak about what I feel like I could add to the conversation. Sure, I could pull up a bond chart and just looking at the chart alone, give Great, fantastic analysis, but it doesn't fit into my overall picture. I share exactly what I do with all of you, how I see and read the markets. Everything that I look at, which is a lot. We're talking about, the S&P, the Nasdaq. We track the Dow, the dollar, right? Oil, which is not right now. If you've noticed, that does not play into my analysis ever since oil broke down, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum. We watch all the FX pairs. I don't need to watch bonds. I don't watch them. I'm not the person that can help you out over there. No. If Bitcoin, when Bitcoin reaches $50,000, I believe that's when a lot of institutions are going to be it's going to be $1 trillion market. Institutions, funds are going to have to start positioning into Bitcoin. That's not even halfway to my target on Bitcoin. I would not be selling anything at $50,000. But rest assured, Dr. Loco, rest assured, as we get there, I'm going to be leading everyone through it, as always, what I'm looking at and how I'm doing it, right? So PA had, what you're hearing is, let me see if I mute that. Maybe you won't hear them anymore. That was my mouse clicks as I'm clicking my mouse. That was the clicks you were hearing. I turned off the system audio now. Let's see. So I'm not going to get into that right now because we're just. The question is, am I going to short Bitcoin towards the top of the bull market phase as we enter that bear market phase? But as we get there, I'll let everyone know what I'm doing. I'm not thinking about that now. I'm thinking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, silver, all entering such bullish portions of their bull market phases. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm not fast forwarding 18 months, right? Most likely, a large portion of funds are going to be cashed out, right, into a stable coin, collecting 8.6% interest on BlockFi, right? That's what I've been using BlockFi for the past month now. All of my purchases for Bitcoin have come from BlockFi, and most likely I'll be sitting in cash collecting 8.6% interest, waiting for that right time, 15 months to the next halving, when I'm going to step in and reposition myself into Bitcoin. You don't need to short Bitcoin on the way down. Listen, I'm expecting an 85% drawdown on Bitcoin, or in the circa 85%. But at the same time, I don't need to short it. So yeah, we talked about that, Bernie. It's a big deal. Caitlin from she's what's her last name? Caitlin Long. She said this is a huge deal. She knows. She just created a bank. She changed all the laws in Wyoming, making them the most Bitcoin friendly laws in the whole United States, and as a template for other states to use, where you have full custody, where people cannot take your Bitcoin from you. They have a bank that they've opened up in Wyoming. They got their banking license. What is it called? Avante. And they're actually introducing a stable coin that's pegged to, that's held in a U.S. bank. So she says that's one of the most important things that just happened that no one's paying attention to. You got it. Oh, how long do I think we'll see an impact? Look, when we're talking about what's going on in Bitcoin, we're watching what's happening technically and fundamentally. We have both lined up right now in Bitcoin. We have technically, we started the bull market on the break over here of this trend line. And then not only that, we're now confirming and consolidating, confirming the first support level in this area over here, resuming off of it. Uber bullish fundamentals, the 4-year cycle, everything's lined up for Bitcoin. No, don't trade Bitcoin. Why? Don't trade Bitcoin. Just buy and hold Bitcoin. I trade my FX account in Bitcoin on FX Choice. By the way, when I talk about the things that I use like BlockFi or FX Choice, the links are in the description below. I want to take a look at the US dollar Mexican peso this morning. You could see over here, by the way, and pay attention. The correlation is breaking down between equity markets and the US dollar Mexican peso. We saw that happening last week. I observed it. I talked about it. And here you could see this morning that happening again as equity markets are up. And you can see the US dollar Mexican peso is also up over here. This has now been confirmed to support. You could see the break of resistance happening. You could see that happening. And then the test of that broken resistance confirmed as support as the entry right over there at 22.38. And then that is now looking good. So interesting that the correlation is breaking down, right, between the S&P and the US dollar Mexican peso. Always you have to just, you always have to be making these just like observations, which your brain is able to then absorb and take in. This is what you're looking for. We also see today the dollar up, and we also see the U.S. equity markets up, right? We also see, dollar up pretty strong. What's gold and silver doing? They're pretty much consolidating, holding their gains. They're not trading off, right? They're just consolidating their gains. Bitcoin, Ethereum, they don't really care. They're now breaking their correlations too, and they're going to do their thing. Let's get into FX and do a very thorough review this morning because it's Monday. By the way, let's sit back for 1 second this morning and talk about what's going on as we enter August the 1st over here. And when I say what's going on is we're entering the middle of the summer here, right? There's probably another good couple of weeks of trading over here. I know everyone is working really hard. I'm seeing enormously great results, right? All across the board, or when I say all across the board, a high margin. And especially during the last few weeks when the trading, we were seeing those expansion of ranges. Most people did really well. The results speak for themselves. They're phenomenal. But the trading conditions could be changing now. When I say that, you go from expansion to consolidation. Now, this current expansion could keep going over here, right? Two things could happen. Look at the euro US dollar. We're going to get into every single FX pair right now. But as you're looking, George, by the way, let me just pull back for 1 second before I start going. Thomas, buenos dias. Thomas, we were just talking about the US dollar Mexican peso correlation changing with the S&P 500. A good entry for Ethereum. We just looked at how Ethereum, by the way, broke out this 358, 360 2-year resistance over here, consolidation range, starting the bull market. It then pulled back, tested that broken resistance, held as support, and resuming off. That's a good entry. Listen, if you can't, you got to take the course. If you don't recognize that. Euro US dollar, right? Two things could happen. If we hold this support, this broken resistance now turns support. If this holds and we start resuming off, this current expansion could continue, right? Whether it's not for another day or another 2 weeks, I have no idea, right? As long as it's there, you want to be there and take advantage of it. Or I think if we break down over here, we enter a consolidation period that could be long and drawn out, maybe over the whole month. Be careful. Just keep in mind, we're going through expansion. Expansion turns into consolidation. I notice that there are a certain degree of y'all who, when we enter that consolidation period, have a difficult time. You have to, if you're aware that you're in consolidation, that helps you widen your stops a little bit so you don't get chopped around. You have to know as you come into that first support or resistance, maybe you're looking to take a little bit more profit off. Maybe you're looking now for 20, 25%, maybe even 30% if you know your consolidation, right? And the whole goal during that consolidation period is stay as close to break even as possible. Then as you enter the next expansion period, that's again where you make a head. I saw all of you during the expansion period putting up gains and really sizable gains. Really happy about that. I just want to keep everyone on the right side of the market. Thank you, Greg. Thanks for being such a joy and appreciate that. So I'm just trying to, what I'm saying here is so important. I wish I could just look you all in the eye right now And as we enter August, so much momentum is being built up, so many good results. Listen, I'm entering this week thinking I'm not going to take a trade. I'm still holding Australian dollar, Japanese yen long, and euro, Japanese yen longs. I'm still holding them. But aside from that, I'm going into the week thinking or trying to talk myself into the fact that I'm observing, not looking to take any trades. And rest assured, if any setup is there, I'm going to jump on them. Let's look how the market's set up right now and see where we could find some opportunity. Yeah, we looked at the S&P and Nasdaq as look. We've been between the live streams and the afternoon updates. We walked everyone through this. We looked for this break, the break. This was the retest. This was the entry. We're looking now as we come into all-time highs. Move your stop loss to break even. You can see even after that test, this was a test of that. This was a test. Boom, that was successful of that little local support over there. Right now, you can move your stop loss to break even. It's a free trade going into resistance. You're looking for the break of resistance. You're always looking to push the trade. You have to hold on to your winners. You have to push your winners. You can't have winners if you don't push them. You can't get to 100,000 on Bitcoin unless you could take the volatility. You just can't do it. So if you're trading in and out of Bitcoin, you're going to miss the move. You're going to be buying in much higher, guarantee it, because you're going to see violent moves to the upside. By the way, if you miss the 10 largest trading days of Bitcoin, you miss out on without knowing the exact statistic, it's well over 90% of the move on Bitcoin. So just don't miss out on the move. It's how long could you hold a long position? Months? Depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about a trade or investment, we swing trade. Those, have the small pieces of them could last a long time. Let's go through. Look at that, Clint. Thank you so much, Clint. Appreciate that, brother. Yeah, Gabriel, I don't look at fibs whatsoever. Do I think it's possible to develop a profitable trading system off fibs alone? Probably, for sure. Off moving averages, probably, for sure. But the easiest, most efficient, and best way to trade the market is off price alone, off the market structure of support and resistance with the help of trend lines. If you're not profitable, start doing that. Brian, Jesse's been working on it. We could use some design is everything. I would love some t-shirts that I could rock all the time and really wear. I'm really picky about clothing and style. We need some great designs. Jesse's working on it, Brian, for sure. All right, let's go. And now let's start. We're going to blow through the market over here. I will peek back on equities over the next 15, 30 minutes if anything is occurring, but they're moving in the direction that we're expected. So there's not much going on there for us. By the way, are we going to see the Dow take a run at the June highs? I hope so. I sincerely do. Let's get into FX. Let's see where the flow is, and let's see what the market is bringing us. Matt, have you been following the channel and the updates? There's the weekend before last, not this weekend, the weekend before. Go to the published videos. We did a video on Bitcoin. Do check that out. All right, here we go. Euro US dollar. Everyone's aware of what's happening over here. Right now, we're testing this trend line over here. This is a 12-year trend line. This trend line is a big deal because beyond it, that sets off a possible really big move on the Euro US dollar, targeting up here first at 1.2, and then next trading in this area of 1.24. So that's a big deal if this breakout holds. That could be a bigger move on the dollar. Right now, the dollar was way overextended, and we're seeing a little bit of a retrace now on the dollar. We're looking in a downtrend to sell resistance. The first resistance is this trend. Well, you're into local resistance right now. You're into local resistance that held last week over here. So if that then resumes off, that's a possible entry here against the dollar. which would mean also that the euro US dollar was holding that trend line that we just looked at right now, right? That would mean that's going to hold. Now, if that doesn't happen on the DXY and we come into this trend line, that's an area of interest, right? And then also we have this trend line and the 95.84 area up there. Once you broke this trend line over here, I would be very cautious. I'll start being very cautious. I would then think that this has the potential to possibly break 95.84. And if we do, then at that point, we're no longer bearish on the dollar. All right. Does that mean that we're bullish? Not necessarily. So you have to look at the dollar as the base as we get into all the analysis over here. Australian dollar, US dollar, this is coming down and testing an area of support as well, right? You could see that. What happens in an uptrend? We buy off support, right? So if this holds, definitely that's an attractive possibility on the Australian dollar, US dollar. So we see dollar pairs setting up over here. We see dollar pairs setting up. We'll keep tracking them, see what's going on. I'm going to go through all the majors first before I get into any crosses. So let's look at the pound US dollar, right? How does that look? Some pretty big resistance that we were rejected by again. It's a pretty big area over here. You can see over here, right? Over here in this area over here. That's where we were just rejected. I don't like the pound because of all the uncertainty that's coming up this fall. I have no idea what's going to happen with the negotiations with the EU. I expect they're going to go down to the wire, and then we'll see whether or not we have any type of deal or we have a hard exit, or if the EU pulls a rabbit out of their hat for whatever reason and something different happens. I prefer, if I'm playing against the dollar right now, although the pound and the euro have been the strongest here versus the dollar, and they were moderately before that dollar weakness started. Those two were the moderate strengths and now have taken over. I prefer the euro versus the dollar when it comes between the pound and US dollar. What about the US dollar, Japanese yen? You're coming in and it looks like you have the potential here to be breaking that resistance over there, right? You could see that over there. That could be a possible bigger move on the dollar. Interesting in that we're seeing the yen stronger than other currencies. So things are mixed in FX right now this morning. When I say we're seeing the Japanese yen making gains on the Australian dollar, we're seeing it making gains on the euro, the pound, everything else. So the yen is stronger than most other currency pairs, but the dollar is stronger than the yen today. What does that mean? Do we have stronger, like if I was, let me clone this line. I haven't been following the US dollar, Japanese yen. I've been trying to get people to stay away from it, right? Because it wasn't tradable, right? Look at this. That's a big area of resistance as well. That looks like where we're going to next. Coming into this area in a rejection. Let me make this lighter. I don't want to throw people off right now. Let me make that a little bit lighter just so they're equal, right? You're looking to sell still after the breakdown of that support. Now, I do not think the Japanese yen is the most attractive pair to play versus the US dollar. I think that the euro is much smarter. I think the Australian dollar is much smarter. I think that even the pound, even though I'm not interested, is much smarter. And of course, we like the US dollar, Mexican peso. Why do I say that the Japanese yen is not the pair to play off the US dollar? Because we have now for months really been nowhere on the US dollar, Mexican peso, while we're seeing really big moves happen across the board. You do not want to get involved in sideways markets that are going nowhere. You're looking to enter markets that have the possibility of breaking multiple support levels or resistance levels. You're looking for trending moves. You're not looking for stagnant markets. The US dollar, the Japanese yen is a stagnant market. Stay away from it. There's so much opportunity. Now, on a bigger perspective, is it possible? Is it possible that this breakdown holds? This is the retest. We come back down. If you take out that low, that we're coming back down for a move towards 100. Yeah, that's possible. Again, it's not the most attractive pair in the, to be monitoring or trading right now. What about the US dollar, Canadian dollar? All right, we're seeing a nice move over here and heading back towards this resistance, right? That's an area of interest, possibly looking then for a resumption down. Now, we're looking for that dollar weakness. Is the Canadian dollar the currency that you want to look to trade against the dollar? I've been avoiding it in my analysis for a while now on purpose. When you notice me doing that, it's because it's a market that you should stay away from. The US dollar, Canadian dollar, I believe, is one of them. Look, let me just clean up that chart a little with you, right? But nevertheless, it's in a big downtrend, right? It's coming now, pulling back into an area of resistance. It is something to watch. It is something to watch. Oil has really helped the Canadian dollar and the dollar weakness too. It's all a dollar story. It's all a dollar story. And that is also, let's take a look at WTI, by the way. I have, ever since this breakdown of 1450, avoided WTI once the market became irrational because I look for clarity. And then as we began up, right, we looked at this area over here as our target, 41, right? This closing this gap over here, 41.25. We've since finally closed it, right? But this market is sideways as you can go. It's definitely not interesting. I've tried to keep everyone towards where their focus and attention should be, right? That has been, bid on equities, but not interesting. Equities are not interesting anymore. Equities are risky, in my opinion, very risky. Gold, silver, for sure. Bitcoin, and finally now, we had the bull market begin over on Ethereum. US dollar, Swiss franc, let's take a look at. Oh my goodness. You guys, sorry, it's not within my character. I don't normally do it, but I called my exit on all of you, and it looked like the perfect exit now in retrospect, right? But here we are right now, and we're coming towards an area of resistance. Right there was the break, and then you can see we're back towards here now. So that's an area to watch. This is a strong downtrend. Now, also, if we break above this resistance, if we get that little bit of a bigger move on against the US dollar on this retrace, let me pull it up. If we come up and we break above here, right, and we're coming up to a higher level, is it possible? Is it possible that we're going to see the US dollar, Swiss franc trade to a more attractive level? Sometimes it pays to just be patient and wait until something is very attractive. Now, don't get me wrong. This is attractive. If we get a rejection here, that's attractive. But this level here, this is a bigger resistance. It's a stronger resistance. It has more touches, right? And if we get a pullback into that one, that becomes very attractive. That becomes very attractive to load up. So we'll keep watching it. I'm going to actually put this on my watch list even right now as we have pulled back up into this area of small resistance right now. So let me do that. Let me flag that. So I'll come back to that later. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. Yeah, it's very interesting because the correlation is breaking between the S&P and the US dollar, Mexican peso. It started last week and it's very clear today. New Zealand dollar. This is feeling a little bit more pain today, coming in down to this area of support. Let me clean up my charts, just make it a little bit clearer because it's been a while since we looked at this pair. You can see over here, this resistance. That's the area that we're testing into right now. Now, if this holds, does that provide an entry? Of course. Uptrend, pull back into support. If it holds, that's a good entry. You also have this support down over here. So lots of setups now developing as the US dollar is strengthening, providing more opportunity. This is all very, very healthy. It's not a sign of anything bigger to come yet. We've looked at where a sign of something bigger to come is on the DXY. This is a small retrace so far. We're into an area of local resistance, and we got a stronger trend line over here up above us. I'm looking to fade that move. You could see out of all the US dollar pairs that we looked at so far, I flagged 4 of them. So there's ample opportunity. Now this is, doing your analysis and finding where the setup and opportunity lies is one thing. That's the most important. You have to do exactly what I'm doing. My analysis, start flagging them. We only went through dollar pairs. We're going to go through the yen pairs next, and then we'll go through some crosses. I'm looking for all the opportunity in the market. And then it's a question of time of day, when to take the trade. Is my setup happening when there's high volume during London? Do I want to trade this pair? Listen, go enter this week as I'm entering it. I expect I'm not taking a trade. I'm in the middle of the summer, but I understand the markets are expanding. If I get a signal, I'm going to pounce on it. Let me take a sip of water over here. It's 47 minutes that we've been going here. I don't know. Are you guys enjoying the flow today? It's always different. Here we are. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq, up 1% as the market's just getting open, coming in and testing that all-time high right now. 28% on Apple. Oh my goodness. There's not much else I could say, but wow. I'm just looking at that chart as it's going parabolic, right? Wow. Equities are a funny beast. Equities, I heard that was last week, right, Hanson? Thanks, Miguel. Thanks, David. Appreciate that little bit of extra support. Help me dig in here as we're going to go through the Japanese yen next and then into some crosses and really figure out what's going on. Man, that thing is shooting the moon. The funny thing is about equities, it's not that they're more valuable. It's that they're diluting the dollar. They're diluting the dollar. Oh, man, there's so much going on right now. By the way, did anyone see that we're seeing Australia on lockdown now? What's going on? When are we going to go back? No, Chris, I don't focus on that, on the China 50. I focus on where you have the best opportunity to make money. Listen, as a trader, you're not looking for volatility. You're looking for high probability. You're layering in edge upon edge upon edge. You're looking where that consistency is. You're looking to make a living on this. You're not looking to take risks. All right. I'm not happy about that. Prayers for Australia and hoping that we could, beat this for real. A lot of people, it's wearing psychologically on them. You got to lift everyone up. You have to be that light. You really have to share that smile. You can't get into politics with people right now during the election. Everyone's already under so much stress. A lot of people are losing their livelihoods. Listen, you yourself have to be able to assess the whole situation, all the data, to be able to make find out what the true not with the narratives. You have to go through all that noise and figure out what is signal. But when it comes to being around other people, be really mindful and thoughtful of what they're going through right now. All right. Yeah, to Justin, by the way, BlockFi is something that I do highly recommend. It's all I use now when I buy my Bitcoin. They pay up to 5 Bitcoin, that's 6% interest, right? So while I'm holding during this bull market, I'm receiving that 6% interest. And then I will be, when I exit my Bitcoin trade, looking to collect that 8.6% interest while I'm holding dollars, until I get to the point where 15 months to the next halving, I'm going to do it all over again. And when I buy back into Bitcoin, in the description of the video, there is an affiliate link. And I do appreciate that, Justin. That's awesome of you for asking. Jesse, thanks, brother. Thanks for always being there. Yeah, me too, Murray. Me too. No, I don't think that's the time yet. So Brent, this is such a good comment. So is everyone focus in it and I'm going to take you through all the Japanese yen charts. I'm going to take you through some cross pairs, and then we'll check back in on everything. Yeah. And that's unfortunate, but I'm going to go Brent. And that's unfortunate because I want to be able to talk about, what's the best course of action that we should be taking as a whole. Like it's so sad because it's a virus. It's not political, right? Where it's us versus the virus. It's not us versus each other. It's ridiculous, but you're right. We can't do that right now, right? Is your US dollar insured with them, right? So I'm sorry. Brent, I'm going to talk about your comment because it's so important for everyone in one moment. But when you talk about BlockFi and you're asking if there's insurance, like, there's no it's not FDIC insured up to $250,000. By the way, do not believe for a second that your FDI insurance is going to work when they need it. If you remember in 2008, the FDIC was basically bankrupt. They didn't have any money to cover it, and nothing happened. No banks really went under back then, right? Everyone was bailed out. The money's not there. The insurance is not there if the system breaks. So don't worry about it. Better your money's in the cryptocurrency ecosystem if the US dollar banking system goes under. Nope. They are backed though. They are backed by Fidelity is an investor in them. They're backed by the Winklevoss twins. They do their cold storage with Gemini. The only reason I'm talking about it is because it's something that obviously I've weighed my risks. Look, I store obviously Bitcoin offline in a hardware wallet. I also have it on multiple brokers, right? Including FX Choice, also here in BlockFi. And BlockFi is the only one that I use now for making further deposits. And they also have Coinbase as an investor. And also those familiar with the cryptocurrency industry and Anthony Papalano and Morgan Creek Digital, they're also investors. So some of the largest names in the industry are invested. That makes me more comfortable than the funds I have in a money market account at Chase Manhattan Bank, because I know that if there's a problem with the system, that just like in Cyprus, they're going to come in and take my money. They're not insuring my money. That money that I have at the bank is not my money. That's the bank's money, right? So I'm hoping they'll give it back to me. So do you like emerging markets? It's a really quick, good question with the weaker dollar. I don't know what's going to happen with the dollar. When I say that, what do I mean by that? I'm going to go to a 3-day chart to give you a bigger perspective on the dollar. We watched over here in this area where my mouse is, the consolidation over here. The consolidation. And I was very bullish on the dollar. I was looking for a resumption up in the test of 103. Once we broke over here that line, let me show you what that looked like. This area over here, once we broke down, and everyone on the channel knows, once we broke, I became very bearish on the dollar, even though I didn't want to be, right? And then we tested that broken resistance, that trend line, confirmed it, resumed down. Once we broke here, right, we really started falling off. This is now a pullback in a big, strong downtrend. Look to sell resistance. You have local resistance here. You have trend line resistance here. And you have big, strong resistance right over there. We're looking only to sell into those areas. Is it possible the dollar breaks up over here, that resistance? I mean, of course it's possible. If we break above here, Brent, then, it's a dollar debt-based system. At any point in time, that dollar could rear its head and we could see an inflow of dollar strength. So just because technically I'm bearish on the dollar and have been profiting off of that, that doesn't mean I won't change my mind or that I want to get into any emerging market plays. I think that's too soon, personally. I personally think that's too soon. I've always said that the riskiest play you could trade versus the dollar would be versus the Mexican peso, right? Because, again, the play versus the dollar is gold. The play versus the dollar is gold, is Bitcoin, right? Silver and Ethereum, more risky. They're riskier, right? Be careful. They could have higher gains. Silver, we expect to outperform gold over here. But if there's another crisis, gold's going to outperform silver in a big way. So again, you got to weigh your risks at all times. I think because we're looking at a weaker dollar right now, an emerging market play would be a very risky investment. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for high probabilities trades here and investments. The DXY, yep, that's true, GP. That's true. Is that going to hold? I don't know. And someone sent me a chart of that over the weekend. I forgot who it was. I'm sorry, I'm just getting my breath over here. It's 57 minutes in here, sharing this beautiful, sharing just what I can with y'all, right? Sharing a little bit of nuggets of wisdom here and there that I picked up over the past 20 years. So if that's helpful for you, man, continue watching. If not, you don't, then that's all good too. No hard feelings over here. Um, you the DXY, right, bounced over here. I think it's a bounce. I call this a dead cat bounce. Now, whether or not you agree with that, that's fine. This is extraordinarily bearish right now. Technically, this has broken lots of important supports. I'm looking at this trend line over here that we just broke down over here. We're seeing some bearish price action on the DXY over here. I'm looking as we come into this resistance over here. This is going to hold and we resume down. Oh, that's awesome. That's what we do here. I'm glad to hear that it has helped you. No, I didn't, Reza. You know what? I didn't post any videos over the weekend. First time, but look, there was nothing new that I wanted to share with you. So there were no new videos posted over the weekend. Yeah, so I'm going to just pause here for a second, Luciano, because I enjoy talking about this stuff so much. I've always said, and I continue to maintain, that the price of Ripple could rip at any time. Here's a rip. You guys see, like, that's a rip. I've always maintained and believed that the price of Ripple could rip because, it's so centralized. It's ridiculous. The company Ripple there's no cap on the supply. They could just print that stuff anytime they want and then unload it. So not only does it rip, but then the company's unloading to all retail over here. It's just not ethical. So there's no way that you can invest in Ripple, and it's not safe, right? So nothing has changed over there. I've always maintained that while I believe that it's a scam, you can you can't short it because they'll just rip it against you. Trying to catch up in these comments. So, by the way, a lot of people always look. I never look at the monthly. People are looking at the monthly on the S&P 500. Man, I can't focus. The markets are. You're talking about this complex organism that is constantly taking in new information and digesting it, and then people across the world are positioning themselves accordingly. Thinking months out is not that's not how I make a living. I can't imagine investing with that type. If you're looking at the monthly chart, what are you investing on, a decade time horizon? Not me, right? So look, here's the monthly though, because a couple of people are looking for it, right? What do I see when I'm looking at the monthly time frame? The same thing I'm looking at on the really honestly when I look at the 3-day and the 8-hour. I'm seeing this is what I'm watching. Right now, I have to be honest with you. So I called out Brent Johnson the other week when he showed his erroneous trend line. I called out Raul Powell on Bitcoin when he had his wrong trend line over here for the bull market starting. It's no problem. It is what it is. We're here to help each other. But listen, I'm a technician. I'm self-taught. So maybe I see things a little bit different than others. That's a huge advantage in the markets, by the way. Because if everyone's following the same thing, doesn't work out. This is really bearish to me. It's extraordinarily bearish to me, right? The only way that I will change my mind on the DXY is if we take out, right? What would mean this was a failure? For all you dollar bulls who drank too much Kool-Aid, I'm sorry, right? I'm sorry, right? Just because some guy has a theory, you got to consider it, but you have to follow what's happened technically. Once we broke the channel over here to the downside, if you didn't become bearish on the dollar, you're playing this game wrong completely, right? So here we are right now. What has to make me change my mind to the upside? What would I say this is a failed breakdown of the dollar? Well, I have these two trend lines over here. that were a big deal because this was support, 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 broken, right? So what happens when you break a trend line? You come back up and retest it, confirm it, and that's when the big move begins. I think we're setting up for a big move on the dollar. I don't think it's to the upside. If it is to the upside, when am I going to be proven wrong, right? Well, first we got to break this trend line, and then we got to break this one. By the time that happened, that's really right there's the line in the sand at this moment, 96.40. And as long as you're below that, you're super bearish on the dollar. That's awesome, Adam. Thank you. So this is also very important, though. And again, we're just, the whole idea when it comes to investing is just make a detached, rational judgments, right? But XRP, the whole point of XRP was the utility was it was a cross-border settlement solution. And a great one. It was a great idea for sure, right? Instead of waiting days and a week for settlements to occur, they occur instantly. RIP XRP, right? But the thing is now the central banks have taken that very idea. They've built the central bank digital token. The IMF is the brainchild behind that. They already have it in Switzerland and Ecuador being tested on the ground. Believe me, the solution to the next crisis, and I've been saying this for years, when this system does break, when will the system break? The system's going to break when no longer is it sustainable. We don't know when that's going to happen. Until that happens, they're going to keep printing. We've entered the new stage of this whole big experiment, and now it's the, QE is deflationary. Inflation's not a problem. Therefore, we could just print our way out of this whole mess. What's that going to do? It's just going to keep building up until all of a sudden the dam breaks and then all of a sudden there's huge inflation. When the system does break, the IMF is going to be like, hey, wait a second. We could save you. You have our central bank digital tokens, digital currency that's backed by a basket of currencies, including the yuan, dollar, euro, and yen, pound, Australian dollar, and also gold. All you need to do is enter complete tyranny. Bitcoin's the answer to freedom. Anyway, I digress. I don't have a view on XRP. I think that you should stay away from it. I think what's a better investment? Trading a highly speculative, risky asset that at the end is going to be worth zero, or trading Bitcoin and just using a small amount of leverage. Maybe using 3 times leverage. It's a no-brainer. Stick with what it's a no-brainer. How do you find the DXY chart for Rwanda? Is that what I'm using? Just type in DXY up top, and then it tells you the feed, right? So I type in DXY, and then it says over here, go to Forex, go to all. Oh, that's a good question. That's really weird, right? How am I using a feed that's not available? Oh, I'm not using Rwanda. There is no DXY for Rwanda. There is no DXY for Rwanda. Yeah, listen. You have it on IG. Nice. There it is. Mike. Sticking with the strengths, Mike. Me too. I like it. All right, let's get back into it over here this morning. 430 likes. That's a lot. Thank you all for spending this time together. I get such a joy every morning when I see everyone and the greetings. You guys are all very special. Look over here. Let's look at the Euro US dollar now. Right? I know, like, not everyone. I don't mean to speak in absolutes, and anytime I do, I apologize, because you should not think in absolutes. I feel like coming into this session that everyone was extraordinarily bullish on the dollar, right? Not me. Let's see what happens. But we've been through all that, watching what happens here on the equity markets. Here we are, right? Exactly on the side of the market that we all have been leaning on across the board. That's because of all of you. I'm grateful for it. Mario, right? That's a good signal to watch. Too soon for me, but good a signal to watch. If that support holds and we start resuming up, for me, time of day is very important to my trading. So we'll see what happens, but we're watching it. We're watching it. GP, thanks for being here. That's a pretty high spread on the euro. Julian, that's a high spread on the euro US dollar. You could go to Julian, just search my FX book spreads, and they'll show you of like over 100 brokers the different spreads. That's awesome. Oh no, I'm not getting off. I'm not getting off. Listen, there's so many of you. Like, we spent an hour. Everyone kind of has a good view, but I didn't go through the Japanese yen pairs yet. I didn't go through the cross pairs, and we're a long way from the London close. You're stuck with me, anyone who wants to continue. And if, the first hour in here, everyone now has a more solid feel for the flow today. That's the whole point. But I got more to do. That's awesome. Thank you for that. All right. Very bad construction spender numbers. Very good for equities. Bad for US dollar. Coffee and charts. That's right, Thomas. Speaking of which, let me take a sip. Let's see what's going on with the euro Japanese yen. I'm in this trade long. Continuing to hold. Looking over here at this resistance to finally take my profit. Just resuming off nicely right now. You could see this bit of resistance turn support, right? You can see that's holding. Let me get that in. Murray, I'm so sorry. I don't have any thoughts whatsoever on natural gas. It doesn't fit into my flow. I'll look at the CFD. By the way, whenever looking at something you don't look, what do? You go to a high time frame and you zoom out. That's where you start. We'll start here on the weekly, right? What does that look like to everyone? Well, extraordinarily bearish, right? You could see this resistance line I have in right here. That's the only resistance I have. We're at it right now, right? So should that be like, let me perfect it, right? Should it be there, or should we be looking at that one? Both of them you should be looking at. Let me just give you the roadmap, and then you could trade accordingly. All right. So you're coming into an area of strong resistance right now. Even above that, look, there's so many levels. I mean, you can't be anything but bearish on natural gas. Nevertheless, just because you should be bearish on natural gas, what do you do in downtrends? You sell off pullbacks into resistance. That's a big resistance you're pulling back into. You have another one above, right? Any rejections of those resistance, that's where you get short. Do you look to pick bottoms? Would you be a bottom picker trying to find the bottom in natural gas? Do we do that? Never. Never try to sell tops. Never try to pick bottoms. Listen, if you want to support the channel, there's so many ways you could do that. You could smash the like button. You could tell a friend who's into trading about it. That's going to benefit them. Or, if you want to support the channel and also vastly improve your own trading, take the course. That's the best way. This is the most stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. I just want to highlight this, Andrea. Mr. Abraham. I can't keep up with the spam on YouTube, so it's impossible. Yeah, Gene, always here and working it, that's for sure. I know if you're familiar with the turtles, by the way. Oh, I forgot the name of the person who's behind the turtles. Oh, super famous investor. And what he set out to do, he put an ad in the newspaper to teach people how to trade. He selected a group of people. He taught them all a system so that they could trade something systematic. Now, trading is nuanced, right? Trading is very hard to make a black and white rule-based system. I've put together and created a template. Not only, it's the whole process of taking someone, whether they have, by the way, there's someone, I spoke with someone who had 7 years trading, took the course, within a couple of months is now profitable, and they're like, all right, now, that's it, leave it. Come on, man. The course costs next to nothing, right? Costs next to nothing. Anyway, people are free to do what they want. Richard Dennis, right? Richard Dennis. Yeah. And Richard Dennis, by the way, holds he turned $5,000 into a ridiculous amount. I think 30 million. Someone has to confirm that. I'm not sure if that's correct, but I believe he turned $5,000 into an extraordinary sum. And then he went ahead and he taught people a systematic method where they were able to profit from. That is an extraordinarily hard thing to do. That in itself, to figure out how to trade is extraordinarily difficult. The road that I went down, I know, was extraordinarily difficult, and I don't know. I guess it's just a grace that I was able to come out on the other side. The course, I see the results. It's real. I'm not trying to shill the course. I'm trying to get anyone who's struggling to go where they need to go in order to be able to make the most progress. I don't think anything of that. I think that it's gambling, right? It's a really good question. What do you think of high quality companies, right? That have a decent amount of cash, and they're in the industries that are hurt: hotels, airline, cruises. I don't know what those industries are going to look like a couple of years from now. I don't know what like the other side of this whole quote unquote new normal. By the way, don't you think it's a little curious that every country in the whole world is talking about this new normal? I live in Mexico, so when I first heard about the new normal, I was like, what a dumb name. But now it's not just Mexico who was promoting this new normal. It's every country in the world, whether it's Canada, the US, Australia, like new normal, new normal, new normal. What the heck is a new normal? What are you talking about? I don't know what these industries are going to look like in the future. And I think right now there's some clarity in the markets for longer term trends. And those trends right now are precious metals and Bitcoin, right? So, beware. You want to be where the trends are. You want to be where these are powerful moves setting up. They mean, I know, the new normal, it's scary. And, you got to be able to read the signal through the noise. All they do is throw noise at us. All they do is throw noise at us. And then everyone gets caught up in it. Everyone's get caught up in the division. United we stand, right? Here we go. No, I don't own a Tesla, and I don't know that I would wanna own a Tesla. I don't, by the way, electric cars are just way too fast for me. When you hit the gas on the electric car and you're in the back of that seat, that I don't like that feeling. I can never be a fighter pilot, that's for sure. Max, man, thanks for being here every day. And listen, whether whether you or anyone else agree, I sincerely and believe that the analysis here shared is just helpful, right? If I'm looking at the DXY, you don't have to agree with me, but I hope my analysis makes yours a lot clearer, right? Yeah, we could take a look at them first, Wes, and then we will get into some Japanese cross. I hope I'm not spending too much time with you all today. I'm just getting into it. I need to know what's going on. I kind of detached myself to focus in on the family over the weekend, and this is a really important session for myself as well. When I'm talking about linked and Tezos, right? I took speculative small positions on these things. I saw them. I knew, by the way, they're at the bear market. I started tracking this, right? Of course, I watch Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, XRP, EOS, Tezos, Linked, and Monero. I deduced that that in the bull market of the altcoins, that Tezos and LinkedIn were going to be some of the biggest leaders. And then as the bull market was beginning, I saw that happening, right? So then what happens when I saw this thing was pulled back, 20% off its high over here, I stepped in and I bought some, right? And then I added more, right? Also, the same exact thing happened on Tezos. I have to be honest. I don't want to hold these two going forward. I'm not exiting them now or anytime soon. But when I do exit, I will exit them, and you'll all know when I exit them. But I feel much more comfortable at this point holding Ethereum. And again, I don't know what Ethereum is going to do. I mentioned that early in the broadcast, but I am looking at 800 as my next price target on Ethereum. And of course, there's more resistance before that. We have some resistance at 500 that probably we won't break above on the first touch, right? We'll test, consolidate, event. But I think that we're going to be testing 800, and I think we take out 800 on Ethereum. But beyond that, I don't have too much confidence in Ethereum, right? I have all the confidence. I have a lot of confidence in Bitcoin. It's totally different. But Tezos and Link, Chainlink, I think they're going to do extraordinarily well. I don't need to participate in them. As I exit them, and I don't have any idea of when that will be, because it's not going to be anytime soon, I'll let you know. But I will exit both of those way before I exit Ethereum, and I'll exit Ethereum before I exit Bitcoin. This looks very bullish over here. I'm going to move up this support level, by the way, because we confirmed this new support down over here. We've now resumed off of it. We're coming into this next area of resistance. Keep it simple, Wes. And whether it's Bitcoin or altcoins, as we've entered the bull market in Bitcoin, alt season will officially, begun on Ethereum. The bull market begun on Ethereum over the weekend, so I take that back. But I didn't expect alt season to begin for 2 more months. You're just looking to buy in these bull markets. The way that I approach gold, silver, Bitcoin in bull markets and the altcoins, you're looking for that pullback, right? Whether it's a 20, 30, or on altcoins, maybe even more. But you're just looking for those pullbacks into supports to buy off of Wes. You could see both Tezos also holding that support over here, resuming off of it. In my opinion, the next thing that happens is Tezos has its eye on $3.30, and then once it breaks there, it's a matter of time before it challenges and then breaks over here at $4. I haven't been. By the way, to finish my thought, I deduced when I was tracking these particular projects and coins that I wanted to only focus in on Ethereum, LinkedIn, and Tezos. So like at EOS, XRP, Litecoin, and Monero, I decided, I think they're going to lag Tezos and Chainlink. So I'm not going to get involved with them. Litecoin, I don't think much of Litecoin, to be honest. Listen, they might introduce some privacy features onto the chain. If they are able to introduce anything onto Litecoin, it could then be introduced to Bitcoin. It's highly speculative. I don't see much of a use case of Litecoin. It's just not where, look, Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and that to me is where I focus my attention. Same thing. Listen, it's the same thing with all of them. Cardano is a popular project. It's probably going to put in some impressive gains, right? What do you do as we enter alt season? By the way, it's probably smarter to have. And I showed the last Saturday why the top 20 altcoins, the top 70 altcoins will outperform Bitcoin on a relative basis during the bull market phase, right? So is it better putting all your eggs, so to speak, into one particular project? No. Owning the top 20, the top 30, the top 50 altcoins in a basket, way, diversifying yourself like that is probably a lot smarter if you're looking to take that type of risk. That's a great tip over there. That's a great tip over there, Kips. This is, by the way, Kips is saying, look for markets that went up today on a strong dollar because they are the most resilient, right? And, well, Bitcoin, Ethereum, but you also have, what else do you have over here? I mean, to me, gold and silver are not up today, but they are consolidating on that strong dollar. They consolidated. That's a strong sign. But then again, we are uber bullish on the metals. Let's see what our euro's doing. So far holding that support. It's entirely a possibility. It's entirely a possibility. And even if it's not 2025, maybe it's 2030. I did. I just bought the pullback. So let me just pull up the chart. By the way, I'm sorry I have not got into the Japanese yen pairs yet. It's just I follow the flow, right? So this is this 358 number here. It's 360 now, right? 360. Let me get the whole number for you. This was the resistance that was going on here for 2 years, right? Here was the touch. This was the support. This was resistance. This is a big level. This is the consolidation for 2 years. We just broke out above it, starting the bull market, and then you saw the pullback into that broken resistance as the test. And although it peaked down into that area, right, that area of support, that resistance turned support, it held this support because it closed above it and is now resuming off. That's the entry for Ethereum. I did pick up, I added, this is my third add to Ethereum right over here, right? My first was down over here off the support, my second, then somewhere around over here, and now I've added my third. That's an area to add. The next target on Ethereum for me is we're looking up here at 500. 500 is the next target on Ethereum. And then when we break 500, the next target above that will become 800. Or is it 800? Yeah, just about 800. So good place to buy, in my opinion. Yeah, if you're here and you're enjoying and learning anything, go ahead, smash that like button. Help support me and the channel. I do appreciate it very much. I think I just need a sip of water. If you all bear with me 1 second. I'm not going anywhere. Uh-oh. If I wanted to leave, I couldn't even. We don't even have our music. If I wanted to leave, I couldn't. Yeah, I'm sorry there was no updates over the weekend. It was just, there was nothing new to talk about or introduce to y'all. And I was just waiting for this live stream to really get into it with you. Thank you for that. Appreciate that very much. I'm going to be focused. By the way, there's a live training session tomorrow after the live stream at 10:15. And I'm going to be focused largely this week on doing a lot of, for the Conquering the Markets group, a lot of weekly recap videos to share with everyone. Again, everyone is doing extraordinarily well, and I'm happy to see that. I'm just going to put on this music here for a second. Not going anywhere. I just need a sip of coffee here. We're going strong for 90 minutes here on the live stream. Just want to, take a breath and catch a second wind to walk us through the rest of this session. Yeah, I mean, it is a possible entry, Roman, as you have the pullback into the support and now the resumption off. That's a signal at the right time of day. My voice is hesitant. I'm still holding, and I'm targeting up here. And hopefully I get that this week. Tomorrow morning at 10:15 is the next live trading session. I'll send out an email this afternoon, and then tomorrow morning I'll send out the email for that link. I'll go back into it then in a minute and I'll tell you what I was saying. I'm just taking a breath here. All right. Appreciate your patience on that one, everyone. Yeah. So, by the way, on the Euro Japanese yen first, asking Roman whether or not this is an entry. And you could see that we have pulled. This was the resistance. It broke up, came back into that support. You're in an uptrend. You buy supports in an uptrend. This is an entry right now as you're resuming off that support at the right time of day. I'm a little hesitant on it, and I'm holding an open trade on this, and I'm looking to take profit over here. That might cloud my judgment on this one, Roman, but I am hesitant over here, and I'm hoping, even this week, hopefully to be able to take and exit that trade. Could we go higher than that? Could we go higher than the 125? It seems like pretty big resistance. That's why I'm looking to take profit on this trade right over here. I would feel more comfortable, Roman, clearing this resistance and then positioning in long rather than taking this trade right here, right now, which the risk to reward just doesn't seem to be that solid, right? The risk to reward is almost like 1-to-1 going into that area. That's a big level of resistance that I'm looking to exit the trade on, not to push past there. If we broke above there, if we broke above that big resistance, then I would feel more comfortable taking longs on the Euro Japanese yen. Maybe not on the first punch over there. Stefan is asking what I think about medical cannabis. I think that the time to get into medical cannabis was probably, what was it? It was years ago that we started seeing all of that VC money pour into private equity companies in cannabis and then them taking the public. And a lot of that hype went on then. I don't know anything about the industry. I don't know enough about the industry that I could give you any type of insight that would be worthwhile. I think a lot of the growth and speculative growth has taken place there. And I don't think it's nearly as exciting as Bitcoin. I don't think it's nearly as exciting as Bitcoin. Oh. Could you guys hear me or no? That was a past message. You got it, Dan. Is this Forex or Bitcoin trading? This is trading and investing. Well, and I happen to trade right now at this moment in time as we've entered the Bitcoin bull market. I trade Forex in a Bitcoin-based account. So instead of trading Forex in dollars or euros, I'm trading it in an account based in Bitcoin, right? So this is, I don't box myself into, this is the markets, right? If you want to conquer the markets, this is the place to be for sure. There's no question here of the value provided. It's a view into the markets in general. We don't only look at Forex or Bitcoin, we look at the equity markets, right? Right now, this is what we've looked at. And now we've hit the again and that all-time high on the Nasdaq over here. That was the goal we were looking at. Everyone's stop loss should be at break even. We're looking to push that higher. Always looking to push your trades. Listen, it is what it is. A lot of people are against me on this. I don't care. I'm just following the charts. Just following the charts. What else are we looking at today? Yeah, JC, love that. Thanks, JMC. Nope. Yeah, we got some matcha tea, by the way. This podcast is sponsored by Matcha Cora Ceremonial Grade Tea. It is. Well, let me take a sip of my matcha right now. I don't have a target on the Nasdaq. You could look at the S&P, by the way. We have a target on the S&P. This resistance here at 33.40, 33.39. This is our end of the summer take profit. Maybe we hit it this week. That would be beautiful. If you do, get neutral and stay out. Equity markets are risky. They're not exciting right now compared to what we're seeing on other markets. But here we're just following what's happened. What type of price targets? No. Right now, if you see any type of breakout here, I would be viewing what happens over here as you got into this resistance. By the way, this is not like some random level, right? You have this horizontal resistance over here, and then you have these trend lines, right? This is our prime trend line that has been our guide to maintain that bullish posture and has kept us on the right side of the market. It has kept us leaning in at the right times. And then we clone that, right? For these other lines, this is the resistance. You can see this over here. And this other one over here has been the peak. That would be, if you come into that area, if you're tracking then the Nasdaq, that take your profits. But we're looking or hoping that you get the breakout. You're always trying to push the trade. If you're taking profits into the first support or resistance, you will never make money. You will never be a profitable trader. It doesn't work like that. Will the dollar trend reverse into deflation if the market crashes? The markets are not crashing. Stop looking for the markets to crash. We are extraordinarily bullish on the markets. Now, of course, we're way more bullish on precious metals and Bitcoin and Ethereum just entered the bull market than we are in equity markets. But the Fed is printing. More stimulus is coming. What happens when the Fed prints? Stocks go up. Stop trying to pick the top in the market. We have prevented everyone from trying to stop selling the top in the markets, and people started seeing the market and people are making money. Do not try to sell the top. Listen, we are in a deflationary environment. We are not in an inflationary environment right now. Is it going to turn inflationary? We'll see. The printer is just getting started. Everyone believes, when I say everyone, I'm talking about politicians and I'm talking about central bankers. They believe that because of the deflationary environment, they could just keep printing right now and running hot. They're going to do that. That's signal. That's not noise. They're going to do that until it becomes a disaster and the system breaks. Do not think that's happening tomorrow. Could it happen tomorrow? Of course. Do not expect for it to happen tomorrow. They just went in and just printed an enormous amount of money over here. This is when QE started. What happens? Stocks go up. Is there a reason to think now is the time to short? The stock market is not the economy. The economy is not doing well. We got some, by the way, on the calendar this week, we got a bunch of PMI numbers. Wednesday, we have more PMI numbers. And then we have non-farm payrolls on Friday, the first Friday of the month. Remember, bad news is good news. And the trend seems to be reversing right now, right? The trend seems to be reversing right now, and we're having trouble creating new jobs. We're also going on further lockdowns. Everyone knows the situation. If we get a bad print, what's going to happen? More stimulus is coming. How the market's going to react? The economy is not the markets. Yeah, we trade with price using support and resistance. The market structure of support and resistance, where the buyer and sellers make important levels in the markets with the help of trend lines. There's a link below for the course below, and if you want to learn how to trade with us, go ahead and join us. Yep, that's a great question that we have not dived into today. No, Jay. Sorry, Jay. This is listen, I enjoy my matcha curry ceremonial grade matcha tea. They don't actually sponsor the podcast. If they did, that would be great. But that's just a little bit of fun. We got to keep it fun. So this is important. Let's talk about this over here. We're talking about the gap on the CME. Now, so far to date, all gaps have been filled. Oh, I just typed CME. Let me put in Bitcoin. Let's go to the futures. Look at this gap over here. Is that gap going to be filled? That's the question. And I'm not talking about it now. I don't think the gap gets filled. Is it possible? 100%. Now, I'm going to look at my chart of Bitcoin that's marked up with you to explain this for you. Is it possible that this gap gets filled? 100%. Are a lot of people looking for this gap to get filled? Yes. Do all gaps get filled? No. Maybe eventually, because you never know what's going to happen. But look, there's so many gaps on Amazon. Go look at an Amazon chart and look at all the gaps that are unfilled. And I'd be willing to bet, unless Amazon went to zero, that those gaps will never get filled, right? Same thing here on Bitcoin. Will this gap ever be filled? Look, I'm looking at Bitcoin right now, starting its bull market. When I say that, what I mean is this. Bitcoin broke this trend line over here, connecting the all-time high to the June 2019 high. And once it broke, that was the start of the bull market. We have been tracking that for an extensive period of time, right? My target on Bitcoin, right, by the end of the year is somewhere around 17,000. My target in the first quarter of 2021 is breaking the new all-time highs. And then from there, we're headed towards, in my opinion, $100,000. In the next bear market, I'm looking for a low between $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in Bitcoin. I'll get into that and talk about that after we put in the high. I'm not interested in that right now. I don't think that we ever fill that gap. Now, is it possible that something happens tomorrow that look, Jerome Powell is very clear that he believes, and I've been very clear about this for months, that he believes that the Fed has acted enough to prevent any near-term liquidity crisis, right? The Fed went in overboard. They went in quick and they went in powerful on purpose because the whole system hinges on it. I don't think in the near term we run into any dollar shortages or any problems once again within that system. Now that could happen again in the future and probably will. I'm leaning towards it doesn't happen for another 5 or 6 years. Okay? I'm not looking for it to happen tomorrow or next week or next month. A lot of people are. A lot of people try to keep selling the tops and they keep running into problems. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Fed acted enough. I think that Bitcoin is going to be Bitcoin. I don't think that gap gets filled on the CME. And if we break this support over here, if we break, this is a warning sign. Break that support, we're coming in and we're testing this trend line resistance, the breakout. That's totally possible, right? If that happens, then the gap will get filled. All right. I don't think we break this. If we do, then watch out for it. Trading gaps is not an investment strategy. You're going to get wrecked. That's what I'm looking for. So, by the way, and David, thanks for bringing that up because I'm not really up to date on what my view of it is that you have both parties positioning themselves for their own interests, none of which are for the American people. So you have one side wants to give 3 trillion, the other side wants to be very picky about what they give. Either way, more stimulus is coming, and after that, either way, more stimulus is coming. So whether or not they do it in one big $3 trillion batch, which they're not going to do, or they're just doing that 3 trillion over the next 6 months, which they're probably doing, more stimulus is coming, right? And it's not a question of them pulling back stimulus. They're talking about, as well as not only are you looking at the government talking about further stimulus, you're talking about the Fed looking to run things hot also. That's good you're here now. That's awesome. And always thanks for being here and for your support. By the way, it's almost scary how on point your analysis has been. When I saw this touch to the over the weekend to our exact support, right, and then close above the trend line, the trend line support, and then hold it, I was thinking, I was just smiling. How about that? Yeah, so I don't know, Mert. When in 2012, when we had, you know, the problem in Cyprus, and they went ahead and they deducted money from everyone's bank account, which they now have passed laws to do in the US and will do bail-ins in the future. Again, they're not gonna, you know, if you have crypto stored on BlockFi, you're not gonna be part of that bail-in. But if your money's with Bank of America, you are, right? So, you know, Cyprus, when they had the bail-ins, they didn't take money out of people's foreign exchange accounts. You know, Cyprus is an interesting area, but you have so many broker options available. The yearly course, yeah, you have I'm not sure what the question is there, brother. The CME started, by the way, at the height of the bull market. They started in December of 2017, so the CME was not available during the last bull market. Yeah, I mean, that's where I lean towards, and we'll see what happens. So, by the way, we've had multiple opportunities to accumulate Bitcoin. The first was this circle over here after the start of the break of the trend line for the bull market, then the pullback for the retest and the resumption upwards. That was the first chance to add. Then we took out this area of resistance at 10,400. We traded above it. Once you confirm that support, that was another area to add. This looks like another area to add. Do I think that? So, Julian, I'm looking for further weakness on the dollar. We're looking and talking about areas of resistance that we look to sell in. This isn't a downtrend. We look to sell resistance in downtrends. Do I think that further stimulus will weaken the dollar? I do, because I don't think it's the last of the stimulus. If, for example, the central bank was lowering rates today, but the market knew it was going to be the last time the central bank lowered rates, and their next action would be raising rates, you would see that the US dollar actually not depreciate in value, but appreciate, because the market's forward looking. Right now, if we get some stimulus, the market's still going to be looking to the next stimulus. This is not the last one. I'm looking for further dollar weakness. Thanks for the support, Mike. Thanks for always being over here. Nice. Max, love to be. Yeah, that's true too, Murray. Love to see people on the right side of the market and making money. Why do you think the Euro US dollar was bearish when the first? I'm sorry, I didn't see your question. The question was, why was the Euro US dollar bearish when the first round of stimulus went through? We were in a huge environment of uncertainty. This wasn't like financial this time. Well, it was financial, but this was the virus that caused all of this. The virus was a huge unknown, and anyone who told you they knew or know what's going on or does to this day to you is lying. It's a very fluid, ongoing situation. So when the Fed stepped in, there was still a lot of uncertainty in the markets. That's why, Julian, the dollar was still bid as a risk off play. No, I don't think the Australian dollar, US dollar has exhausted its rally whatsoever. All right, let's step back. Let's look at this on a high time frame, right? And let's look at some strong resistance. This level up here, by the way, is a lot stronger than we are right now to this one. You know, what's funny is that the Australian dollar, US dollar is trading at exactly where it was back in January, February, when things overall were looking a lot better. But the markets are trading off of different stuff right now. What are the markets trading off of right now? The markets are trading off of stimulus. They're trading off the expansion of the Fed's balance sheet. The markets are trading off of liquidity, and liquidity is abundant in the markets right now. And people could look and could say it doesn't make sense. And a lot of long-time investors are having a lot of trouble with it. Mind you, I don't think, and everyone is very clear, I am really quite cautious on equity markets. I think they're risky. I think equity markets are really risky right now, right? Even though I expect them to continue to go up, you know, you can't feel comfortable about taking a position in the equity markets because things are messed up. But if you look at if you look at what's going on, people are making money. The earnings reports were better than expected. Will that continue going forward? Listen, buybacks are continuing. As long as these companies could borrow money cheaper than the revenue they're producing, they're going to continue. It's all artificial. Could the Australian dollar, do we expect commodities to do well in this weak dollar environment? Should the Australian dollar rise in this environment? Yeah, I remain bullish on the Australian dollar at this moment. The only thing that I think that could really derail that would be sometime in the winter after the election, if Trump wins, or going into the election, if you start seeing the rhetoric between China and the US, those tensions really rising. If you see in October, some type of hot situation between the US and China, revolving what? Hong Kong, the South China Sea, Taiwan. If something goes wrong, the Australian dollar you'll see risk off really quickly, and the Australian dollar definitely get wrecked really quick. None of that's happening right now. This is very bullish. You're looking at this is where the Fed stepped in. You're looking at the March lows. This is an uptrend. You buy off support and uptrends. Mike, thanks for that little bit of support and love. Appreciate that, brother. That's right. They can go after crypto. They can't go after Bitcoin. Mark, I'm buying off. I'm adding to positions in crypto. The yearly course is not showing on the website. Wow, we have a long session today, huh? I mean, in FX, I enter all my positions on stop orders, on stop limit orders, all of them. So I'm not watching them as I enter them. That's think about that, everyone. Think about that. But the Fed is going to monetize all of that, right? The Fed is going to monetize all of that. What percentage are you holding for the 15% to 30%? Sean, I'm not following the question exactly. Hold on one second. Bear with me one second. This is a slight pause here. All right. Pumbaa. That's the link you're looking for. It shows the yearly and the monthly right over there. All right. Boom, boom, boom. That's great, Max. Not only that, Miguel. I mean, that's true. That's true. There is that community and that camaraderie here. But I think we do a little bit better of analysis than CNBC. Bonus material, right? Me too. Yeah, you got it. We still got more to go. Thank you, Mike. If Trump wins, a rise in the markets. Listen, if Trump wins or if Biden wins, we're talking more spending, right? Biden wants to do like a $3 trillion renewable energy project, and Trump wants to do like a multi-trillion dollar infrastructure project. Either way, right? Either way. I don't know, Sean. We'll see. We'll see. That would be a big correction in the equity markets. We'll see. I want to look at that 1 second, by the way. I don't have an opinion. Shane, great to be here today. All right, I was just catching up over here. No, I don't hold enough Ethereum to move it to BlockFi. Yeah, always avoid low volume periods. Elias, like sincerely with all my heart, if you're not yet profitable, really take the course. We go over details there. Yeah, so I mean I use anytime you're using any type of third party, whether it is your checking account, whether it is your Forex account, whether it's your stockbroker or where where you hold cryptocurrency, it's a risk. It's a third party risk. I spread it out amongst multiple places. I look for 15 to 30% drops on Bitcoin, but just buy off support. Just buy off support. Thanks, Reza. You have a beautiful day as well. We didn't get into the Japanese yen pair, so I just want to take a quick look just for myself to get an idea. You can see the Australian dollar, Japanese yen holding that trend line. I have this area over here. You could see this trend line along with this trend line support. If we break that, that would be like something's going wrong. We're seeing risk off, and we will be positioned risk off. If the markets go risk off before anyone else, we will position risk off. That's not what's happening right now, but not too much is happening right now, by the way, either on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. This is the euro Japanese yen. We looked at that with Roman so far. This resistance, broken resistance, is holding as support and resuming off. It's an area of a buy. I'm looking to target over here, by the way. So not too much interesting. I'm just trying to get a feel for what's going on. I see the pound Japanese yen so far. This resistance is held. It's backed off a little bit. A resumption up, and taking out that resistance, that could lead to a new leg up. That could lead to a big move. Let me go ahead and just make this chart a little bit prettier because now we're coming to where this is actually in play, and I like it. That's the resistance. A break above that resistance, and then are we targeting, all right, 141.33. It's a decent move to watch out for. Let me throw in that resistance over there to help me going forward. That's resistance. So finally, pound Japanese yen looking very interesting. New Zealand dollar Japanese yen, I assume, is a lot more of the same. You're pulling back into resistance over here. It's not that exciting. To me, the US dollar pairs are more exciting right now. By the way, if you let's zoom out for a second. That's a big trend line over here. That's a big trend line over here. A breakout is something I want to be involved in. When I love my trend line breaks over there. You could see what's happening over here. This is on the 3-day, by the way. You could see this trend line. It's going to extend it. And this resistance over here in that area. A breakout above there, right? That opens up a decent move to the upside, targeting the resistance at 73. 33, coming back down to the 8-hour as you pull back into this area of support. That's interesting for me. A resumption off of that. I'll flag that. I'll watch that. If this support holds and we resume off, that becomes interesting. You have a good risk reward coming right into the resistance. If now you do assume that resistance is going to hold, but this environment we're in, I'm assuming that's the low, right? And until we see risk off, that we could see, and we're seeing across the markets, big turns happening, multi-year breakouts occurring. This could be another one. I'll watch it. Thank you, Stefan. Yeah, gold and silver are consolidating really well today. You see that strong dollar today, and you see that gold is consolidating right below that all-time high, getting ready. It looks like to perhaps resume up. Silver also below the 2450, consolidating above resistance. A break above 2450 really sets the next leg above, and you could be targeting the next target on silver is 2950. That's beautiful, Hank. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, we were looking. We went into Thomas. You joined us a little late today, but we in the beginning of the session we looked at the. We started with the dollar. Go back to the beginning of the and we looked at it hard. But this is nothing more than a retrace into resistance in a downtrend. We were looking last week at the dollar being overextended, which is why I took profits on my US dollar Swiss franc trade. And I talked about that as I was doing it. We continue now to go up. We are actually now, what are we, 2 hours in to the live session? Look, we're going to call it a morning. I'm going to go have some breakfast. I want to thank everyone for being here this morning. Thank you for that enormous amount of likes and show of appreciation. I will see you all tomorrow morning. I will be updating you this afternoon on the live stream. I mean, on the published video. I definitely need some food in my system. So thanks for being here, everyone, today. Thanks for all the support. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you this afternoon.